During our unpredictable winters in northern climates, significant quantities of sand, salt, and other abrasives are needed as traction aids to keep traffic moving and stopping safely. But when winter is over, contaminants make disposal of used street sand problematic. Road authorities are being challenged to protect the environment while maintaining road safety. In Edmonton, an award-winning process has been developed by the Edmonton Waste Management Centre of Excellence and Sand Recycling Limited.
In Edmonton, we get about 123.5 centimeters of snow for our winter season. And in the big picture, not only have to deal with road safety, it gets into the environmental side of business, because a lot of the products we use can have an adverse impact to the environment. Environment Canada is telling road authorities across Canada that about 5 million tonnes of road salt goes down across this nation.
Well, it's mainly salt that's the problem, just in terms of toxicity. Directly, it will affect animals, invertebrates. It's toxic to vegetation. And indirectly, the runoff from streets into water bodies will affect the aquatic life there. So because salt is now considered a controlled substance, we're required to use best management practices, or BMPs, and basically we need to look at methods to minimize our use of road salt.
If you're going to have a salt management plan, even though the word is salt, you have to look at all the products you're using, and street sand is a component that many people can use and will use.
Street sand is a high-grade material which has specific gradation properties and must be very clean. A major problem is that sand deposits are being depleted at a rapid rate due to street sand and construction demand. The cost of this new sand is increasing, and road authorities must travel further and further away from their municipalities to collect street sand.
Currently, the City of Edmonton is receiving a street sand supply from more than 100 kilometers from the city limits. Now that has an effect in terms of both the effects of transportation, in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, noise that's created, and also infrastructure damage to the highways and city streets.
This sand costs a lot. We're spending anywhere from $2 to $3 million a year just to buy the raw sand before we process it, and then before we put it in the trucks and we throw it out on the roadway. You might as well look at how can you recycle the product to put it back into your program for the next year.
Given the escalating costs of new sand and the longer haul distances associated with depleting local reserves, the City of Edmonton made a commitment to recycling. In 2005, the city entered into a long-term agreement with the Edmonton Waste Management Centre of Excellence for the recycling of its used street sand.
So we've controlled the price, we have a better product, and at the same time, which impacts our road safety, which makes that better, but also we're being good custodians from an environmental perspective. So there's really nothing but win-win-win.
Another advantage to recycling is that it is addressing the issue of what to do with used street sand coming off the road system. Street sweepings have contaminants in them, such as road litter, clay, silt, high salt concentrations, and trace amounts of hydrocarbons.
We used to be able to give the street sweepings away, and we had people lined up to take it as landfill. Well, Alberta Environment said no.
Well, various federal and provincial regulations prohibit the disposal of street sweepings in anything less than a Class 2 or sanitary landfill.
As new environmental legislation came into play that made it difficult to dispose of salt-contaminated material, the question of what to do with the road sand was one that was posing some problems for us. The sand program sweeps up 150,000 tons every year, so had we put that sand into the landfill, we would have doubled the amount of waste going into the landfill in a given year, and thus shortened the life of our landfill by half. The Road Sand Recycling Initiative is working well, and as a result, we're probably going to divert something in the range of 150,000 tons every year of sand that would otherwise have to have gone to landfill.
The sand recycling process allows fine sand, clay and silt, coarse aggregates, litter, and metals to be recovered. This leaves 80% of the remaining material as recovered street sand. The process consists of 5 independent phases. Primary separation involves screening and removal of large litter and debris. During secondary separation, oversized aggregate and smaller-sized litter is removed. Washing through density classification removes organics, clays, silts, and fine sand. Water treatment removes suspended solids from wash water before being recirculated in the process. The dewatering and stockpiling phase has both recycled street sand and fine sand reduced in moisture content before stockpiling for reuse. There are many winter cities with similar problems to Edmonton in terms of ice and snow control. Edmonton in particular chooses to use large amounts of abrasives and smaller amounts of salt than other jurisdictions. Regardless, the recycling process is applicable to other winter cities.
Word is out in Canada that this project is going on, and there's been quite a lot of interest from other Canadian cities. It's a demonstration for other communities in cold regions that use sand as a traction aid in winter and have to recycle it. The sand recycling project won the Transport Association of Canada Environmental Award, so we're delighted with that.
Sand recycling, I think, should become a standard practice in other cities in northern climates that use abrasives on the road in the winter. As we all come to grips with the environmental requirements around the management of salt, this seems like the best solution.